Party people, welcome once again to the Party of One podcast, the actual play RPG podcast where the gaming table is always set for two. I'm your host as always, Jeff Stormer, and this week on the show, I am joined by Peter Eijk for a game of Pine Shallows. Pine Shallows is a game about kids going on adventures and solving mysteries. It is inspired by stories like Gravity Falls, The Goonies, stories about kids discovering the magical world right outside their window. The game is truly a delight. I had so much fun playing it. I think you're really going to love listening to it. It hits those beats exactly right, and I was so happy with the game that we played. Pine Shallows is currently available on itch.io, and they are raising money for editing as well as interior art. Head to jimmyshelter.itch.io, pick up your own copy of the game, help them achieve their goals with the game. I love this game a whole lot. I really hope that you check it out. You can find more information about Pine Shallows in the show notes. And finally, before we dive in, a few quick updates from present Jeff. Hey everybody, Twitter's not doing great. So, in case it stops being a thing and you follow the show on Twitter where you get updates about the show, here are a few other places you can follow the show just in case. We are on TikTok at Party of One Podcast. We've launched a show Tumblr at partyofonepod.tumblr.com. Or you can head to buttondown.email/partyofonepodcast and sign up for our newsletter, where we'll be sharing new episodes, behind-the-scenes stuff, award nominations, all that kind of thing. Those are all the ways that you can keep up with the show in case Twitter stops being a thing, like, in a week or whatever. Relatedly, if you are interested in coming on the show's guest and you don't have a pressing need, like if you have a Kickstarter or something, please email us. But like if you're just kind of like, hey, I'd like to play a game at some point, it doesn't need to be now, it doesn't need to be soon, just some point, head to partyofonepodcast.com. We also reopened our guest application form. Again, if Twitter stops being a thing, I don't want to lose the ability to like interact with people, engage interest in guests. So if you're interested, that's where to go. And with all that said, let's go ahead and throw it over to me in the past so that he can get started with the show. Take it past me. Thanks, future me. I am so beyond excited to be sitting down with Peter Eijk. Peter, thank you so much for coming on Party of One.
Well, very happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Oh, well, thank you so much I'm so happy. I'm so excited this game. You sent me this game. You mentioned it to me, and I was so excited to play it on the show. This is going to be so much fun. And speaking of which, why don't you take a moment and let our lovely listeners at home know about whatever you've got going on that you want them to know about, as well as including what we're playing this week.
Well, we're playing Pine Shallows, which is a game heavily inspired by media like The Goonies or Gravity Falls. The basic premise is it's a small sleepy town, and you play. There's lots of weird things happening all around you. Of course, the adults either don't see it or are too busy with their very busy lives. So if there's something to be solved, a problem, a mystery, then it's up to the kids to do it. That's basically the game. I'm currently itch funding it. The game is already complete. You can already buy it, and everybody that buys it contributes to me being able to hire a very good editor, Tyler Crumrine of Possible World Games, which is very happy that he agreed to do this. What can I say? Yeah.
Cool. Well, in that case, let's go ahead and kick things off. We're going to make ourselves a character, and then we're going to play out a weird little small town mystery. Two things that I love doing with all of my heart. So walk us through the character creation process. We'll take a step-by-step approach, and then we'll jump into the story itself.
It's creating a character should be reasonably easy. You distribute 3 points over 3 stats. Brawn, heart, and brain, which they're reasonably self-explanatory, but yeah, brawn is for physical strength and agility and bluster, and heart is for empathy, charisma, and courage, and brain is wits and intelligence. And then the next thing you do is pick a character background, which are like all the tropes from the inspiring media are covered. So we have the mysterious orphan, the whiz kid. There's 10 in total. A bookworm, athlete, new kid in town. Yeah, I could name them all, but maybe you already have an idea on what kind of.
I'm going with the first impulse that popped into my head, And like today I am feeling like there's no other way to say it. Today I am feeling like playing a little bit of like a teen cartoon himbo is kind of the vibe that I want to chase. So I'm going to put 2 points into heart. I'm going to put 1 point into brawn, 0 into brain, and I am going to pick. Do I want to be the athlete? Is the like that's the first vibe. I could also be the older kid. What's the vibe that I want to chase after in this story? I think I want to be the athlete. I think I think that feels fun. I think that feels joyful. So I am playing the athlete, so I start with +1 brawn. I can also exert energy and spend morale to bump up my action roll by 1 tier. Or I can spend a plot point to call in my teammates by yelling, "Go Sea Owls, go!" All of these things fill me with joy. That feels great. That is the vibe that I want to chase here today. So my morale starts at 4.
Sounds like a great choice. I like the especially like the older kids, the teen babysitter is more of a character when you have like multiple players because it's actually helps boost the team. But I think an athlete is a teen himbo. I love it. I love it.
The idea of like, because the idea of like, I love. There's a trope that I love in like a lot of fiction that I think like informs this particular the character that I'm picturing is like there's a trope of a character, and you see this a lot in like action movies and things. You see this a lot in action movies and similar kind of media of the character that's so tough that they don't have any reason not to be like extremely nice. Like kind of a Great Dane energy is kind of what I'm imagining, and like I like the idea of like I think that my character, and I'm gonna go with he his pronouns, and my name is I'm going Brick Truckley.
Oh, Brick.
Brick Truckley is a great name.
It's a double hitter. It's very important. Truckley. Just a Y or EY?
EY.
Oh yeah.
And I think Brick would be a support. The vibe of like my character would be a supporting character in like an ensemble show, and this being like the solo adventure for this character is incredibly fun. Having my sports team like and have my back is great, and I love this character a lot already.
Yeah. What else do we need to do for character creation? That's basically name, age. What's how old is Brick?
Brick is I almost picked the older kid book, so I'm picturing on the older side.
Yeah.
Probably like, but not necessarily like, not necessarily like on the edge of adulthood old, but like probably like 13-ish. 13, 14-ish.
Yeah, cats probably cats because of his size. People tend to think he's a bit older, maybe.
Yeah, I'm picturing like in the cartoon that exists in my head, he is the character that is drawn like a head and a half taller than everyone else, but is like only maybe a year or two older than everyone.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. If we would go like if you build like a complete party, we also go into like a home situation, favorite mode of transportation, which is always important. Like, do you have a bike, a skateboard, whatever? Some likes and dislikes. So maybe you have some ideas in that area.
Let me think about my preferred mode of transportation. What's fun for this character? I'm gonna say it's go-kart. Like go-kart is very funny. I think it's got to just be like a bike, right? Like I think like sports bike is the way to go. I'm going go-kart because I think that like if Brick wanted something that gave him a workout, he would run. And I think that his parents bought him a go-kart. And I think that's just funny that he just has a go-kart.
Is it an appropriate go-kart for his size, or are
Oh
his knees like
God,
all up against
no.
his ears?
His knees are so against his ears, and like he thinks he looks very cool. But the visual of him driving with his knees up by his ears like that tall guy in The Simpsons is just perfect. It's just perfect for what I'm envisioning of this character. His face when he drives the go-kart is like he gets his face like the cartoon animation, his face scrunches and they draw the little like gravestone half circle tongue sticking out like of one side. That's like his serious face. And he like regularly like the visual, the thing that you see from the poster of the cartoon is all of the other characters kind of like hanging off of the go-kart because it's kind of how we get for it's like a little bit of like the cartoon Mystery Machine, as like all the other kids in the neighborhood kind of hang off of the go-kart.
That's a great visual. I can see that as well. Yeah, does he have particular likes or dislikes that might be interesting for the game?
I'm gonna throw this. I want to ask you this. I like playing with the space of this is a I've stumbled into it, but I'm finding the space of like this is a side character from like a larger ensemble show going off on like a solo adventure. And I'm curious, what do you envision? Like, what's the first pitch off the top of your head for like what the ensemble group that like brought us? Like, what's the thing that brings together our ensemble group of mystery solving kids?
Ooh, good question.
What's like the first thing that pops into your head? What's the fun pitch for like what this group of kids get up to?
Well, because of the go-kart, I also see like them racing down local hills, right? So maybe just competing in all kinds of weird shenanigans with other neighborhood
Oh,
gangs.
oh, oh God, no. Oh, that tells me exactly what Brick's hobby is, and I love him even more. Brick is a jackass style like video filmer. Um Brick's passion is filming himself doing like stunts is what it is. Brick like it's a regular side thing on the show that Brick like will set up a camera on a tripod and you watch him do some like true just Johnny Knoxville jackass style thing and it just causes a calamity. And like that's his hobby and I think like there's sports which he does and he enjoys but like oftentimes we see the sports characters on the show like hanging out in a back alley being like we strapped a bunch of bottle rockets to this watermelon and we're going to see what happens.
I think that ties in great to the adventure as well. I think we have a quite good image of
Yeah.
Brick.
And
Yeah.
for the record, I love him with every fiber of my being.
I completely understand. This is. I would watch a series about him
I would
and
as
his
well.
friends,
This
of
is
course.
great. This is great. This is great.
So, where we start is at the local aquarium in Pine Shallows. Pine Shallows is like busier in the tourist season, but it's past its glory really. So the aquarium, you've all been there because it really needs all the school trips it can get to stay funded. On the other hand, there's also not much to do in Pine Shallow, so the school is also very happy to visit the aquarium more often than you well, let's say you've seen every fish. So where we start is that Brick, the aquarium isn't big. But there's some cool stuff like the tunnel where you can see the sharks and the manta rays. Always cool.
Always cool. Never
always
not cool. Never not cool.
But you find yourself there's like one big aquarium that's is connected through multiple rooms, right? And at some point you've fell behind the tour because you always get the tour. Always get the tour. You know
Always
the
get the tour.
But you fell behind. Why would Brick be on his own in a room? What did he do? Why is he not following the tour?
Going with the first answer that popped into my head, two fish were fighting and Brick stopped to watch because that kicks ass. Brick, we're like in that shark tunnel, right? Like what it is the class is walking and we're listening to the tour, and like Brick looks to his right and sees like in the way that, like in cartoon logic, two fish that would never be in the same tank. Like there is a shark like chasing a minnow or something like that. Like we're seeing a chase and a fight unfold, and Brick just stops and is like, okay, yeah, this rules. This rules. This rules. And like is quietly under his breath, like fists clenched in front of him, like, get out of there, get out of there, duck and weave, yes, 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 this rules.
How much does the fish? Let's say I can imagine the face of the fish, or the head of the fish being drawn in very similar style to Brick.
Yeah.
While he's watching the two fish fight, suddenly, slightly behind them, behind some rocks, he sees another fish, and he hasn't seen it before. But he's not even sure it's a fish. It seems a bit big, almost as big as a kid. Not as big as Brick, but getting there. It looks like it has arms and legs, but it's definitely not a human. It's not a diver, because you can see it has like scales and gills. So, he that catches his eye, of course. And the creature slowly moves towards the glass. How does Brick react to something like this?
I think Brick reacts, looks are. This is a lot of me chasing the first immediate impulse that puts a smile on my face. I think Brick immediately kind of like sees that, gets immediately startled like he saw a ghost, and kind of like jumps back a little bit, and then like peeks up with, you just see his eyes over the railing with the tank next to him, but then is kind of like looks around, looks to the left, looks to the right, and like tries to, if we're still in the tunnel room, I think he does the thing where he kind of like, we see the top of his head pop up, right? We see just the eyes. We kind of get the hands looking, eyes, the nose peering over the thing. And then we see that move all the way to one side of kind of the bridge in the tunnel room, and then zip all the way to the other side, very specifically like trying to angle himself at every way that he can to get the best possible view of whatever this thing is.
The creature does seem to have spotted Brick. He moves closer to the glass, and the glass isn't. There's not a thick layer of algae, but it's not clean. You see it use his let's call them fingers. They're bit. They have some sharp claw-like extensions. So, but let's call it let's call it fingers. He's making symbols in the algae, and it's not completely readable because it's not that dirty. But it does seem like it's writing something. It's hard to say what his facial expression is with all the gills and scales. But Brick doesn't have the feeling that the creature is very happy at the moment.
I think what I'm going to try and do is, I think Brick reaches into his backpack and pulls out it's Brick and it's a cartoon, so it's a clipboard with a playbook on it. Like it's got like a football play on it, and he flips it over to the blank side of the page and starts trying to like write down like what is being written on the thing, so that he can either like translate it himself or find the rest of the group and find one of the other kids in the crew and like show it to them so that he can kind of be like, what the hell does this say?
Let's do a brain roll just to see
Let's do it.
how well he is able to transcribe these symbols. So it's a basic 2d6 roll with a similar spread to like most PBTA games. So
That's a +0 to the roll, but a natural 10, so that is a full success.
That's a full success, yes. So that's very nice. So he might not be the best student, but just taking over some notes, that's well within his capability. When he's almost finished with writing down these symbols, he hears the next group stumbling through the hall, almost coming in. The creature also sees more people coming in, and before they can spot him, the creature dives away. So now Brick is surrounded by some schoolmates, but the creature is nowhere to be seen.
I think stashes the clipboard back in his backpack, stands perfectly upright, and because I've gone on this tour so many times, like stands upright and very loudly like rattles off like a factoid from the tour, like from the tour guide's monologue as they're kind of walking through when we're in the shark tunnel. Just goes like just shouts the first thing that he can think of from shouts the first thing he can think of as like a factoid from the tour guide's monologue is like, sharks do not have bones, they use gills to filter oxygen from the water. Yep, that's what we learned in this room.
Well, his fellow the other kids, well, they know this factoid because they have also been to the aquarium quite a number of times. So they're just nod and just look around a bit bored. No fighting fishes anymore, so that's a bit boring. And one thing you also hear is that one of the people working in one of the guides from the aquarium enters the room. It's Gertrude Willington, but better known as Big G. She's like an enormous. She's bigger than Brick. She's I think similar vibes to Brick. It's this is the kind of job that you take when you're in this case not a himbo but a herbo.
Mm-hmm.
But she. But one thing you know is that she's very enthusiastic about the aquarium. She knows everything, all of the factoids. She especially don't be in her neighborhood when she spots a seahorse. She will tell you everything about seahorses.
Love it.
She comes in pointing out some of the more interesting fish in the aquarium.
And she's an employee at the aquarium or a student?
She's an employee. Yeah, she's one of the main. She's guide, but also they don't. If you work at the Pine Shallows Aquarium, you have to do a bit of all. So cleaning, guiding, work behind the counter in the restaurant. She does everything.
I think that Brick walks up, and I imagine the first thing that happens, Brick is like milling among the students and kind of like stands among some students, takes a big step and stands among some other students, takes a big step and stands towards Big G. And as he's been here several times, and this is a good cartoon moment, like there's a moment where he just, Big G! And the two of them have like an elaborate high five.
She will definitely have like a handshake that only she and Brick share.
It makes me so happy. That makes me so immensely happy.
So she just shouts back, Brick! Good to see you. As always in the shark tunnel. I knew you would be in the shark tunnel.
I love the shark tunnel. I love it. I get to watch sharks. They're nature's killing machines. It's dope. Hey, listen, I got a question for you.
Shoot.
Is there anything, and he kind of throws a glance to the left, and that's right. Is there anything new that's been added to the aquarium lately? Anything, unusual? Anything like big and weird and different that might be in the aquarium?
Well, as you know, like the fishermen in town, if they find something weird, they will bring it here. And sometimes it's live even. They brought in like the weirdest tadpole. It was like a foot long.
Whoa.
But to be honest, I haven't seen it since we set it free in the big tank. So, not sure what's happening there. But we'll keep an eye on it. We'll probably find it at some point. Or maybe... Yeah. Maybe it got eaten by one of the sharks. That's also possible.
It's probable. They're nature's killing machines.
They are nature's killing machines.
They're not. They're largely but this is Jeff just saying they're really not. But I like Brick holding hard to that soundbite is very funny. I think Brick stands there for a moment and we get a close up on his face and a narrowing of the eyes. I think that what we see is all of the kids start to load onto the bus. We get to the end of the day, yeah. Right? We get to the end of the field trip.
Yeah.
And we see Brick in line, and he kind of does another look to the left, look to the right, sneaks off down sneaks off next to the aquarium, and then we see the go-kart blasting with a big dust cloud out from next to the aquarium. I imagine the teachers see this and are not happy.
And where is he going?
I think he's going down to the docks to ask around about who saw the game, who brought in this tadpole and what they saw, where they found it, anything that he can kind of find out about it.
Yeah, like every day there's some the older fishermen that shoot their shit, tell tall tales about everything they caught. So with these big, it's sunny, but of course they all they have the big raincoats, the heavy duty stuff, because that's what you wear. Big boots, they look like fishermen as you would see them in media, they not practical clothing, just you see that they're fishermen. They have big beards, earrings. These are the old grumpy dudes. So
I love Brick so much because every time I know I've now gotten to know this character to the point where I know exactly what he does, and it fills me with joy because we see Brick. We see these two big burly fishermen, or we see all of these big burly, deep sea fishermen, and we pan over and we see Brick standing at the dock in his Letterman jacket, his jeans, his sneakers, is holding a fishing rod in the water, and it's clearly not. It's clearly not a a nice fit, or it's not even an industrial style fishing rod. It's just clearly holding a toy fishing rod and is standing at the dock, quietly reels it in, and fishing rod in hand starts walking next to the fisherman
So they look sideways a bit, but they continue their talk. So you hear one of them ask another, "Oh, did you catch anything interesting lately?" "Well, you never know. I caught a tadpole, and it was a foot long." I brought it to the aquarium, of course. You know, Big G loves this stuff. Big G loves this stuff,
Big
yeah.
G loves this stuff. Yeah, 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 yeah.
They look sideways at Brick again, like, okay, he's... Yeah, strange thing. I've never seen something like this before. Well, yeah, yeah. I thought Big G would know what it was, but she doesn't know. So, but maybe if when it finally grows, yeah, we know what it is. But yeah, the aquarium can use some extra interesting things. It's not going well there. Not as well as in the museum, of course.
Of course, of course, of course. Look to the left, look to the right. And I think like hearing this and hearing them talk about it, I think kind of like hovers around, like continues hovering around a little bit, and once it seems like, I think the vibe that he gets is like, all right, they seem genuine and they seem legit. So like I imagine it's a little later in the day, right? Like we get the
Yeah.
kind of orange filter over everything. It's the evening, and kind of drives in. Like we see the go-kart kind of puttering in, and it pulls up. And when does the aquarium close?
Yeah, I would close. Like this is a school day, right? So it would close early, like 5, 6 o'clock. So probably not all too long after the school trip ended. It would start. They would start closing up. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if you enter now, if you come up to it now, that you will, like the main entrance is already closed, and you would see some lights go off already. It's autumn, so it's already getting a bit dark.
Yeah, I think kind of starts to, for lack of a better way to put it, kind of case the place to make sure that there's nobody around, or that to figure out like how he's gonna sneak in.
Well, at the back there's the like the employee parking lot. You see one car still there. The license plate spells BIGG.
Oh,
You know whose car this is.
big
So
big G.
it's like a pickup truck filled with like, well, tools, other. This car is never cleaned. You know, this car is like a collection of whatever she ate the past half year, whatever she drank, whatever she collected. So tools, rubbish, all kinds of stuff. Yeah, when you're at the back, you do notice that like the lights seem to go out in the direction of the employee entrance at the back. So probably Big G is heading towards this exit entrance. Well, it's both. So
All right.
she might be coming out soon.
If she leaves and locks up the place, then I'm not going to be able to get in. So I've got to find a way to get her out of the building, but keep the lights on and keep the place open so I could sneak in that employee entrance, and I know exactly what to do. So that roll that I made earlier, that 10 was 2 5s, and because that was a double, that means I get a plot point.
Yeah.
And so I think what happens is we get it, like, where is Big G when she sees on the cameras that outside by her truck there is an impromptu there is like an impromptu teen party unfolding as the entire football team has shown up and like set up at like a parking lot rager outside of the aquarium all around her truck.
Oh, how would she respond to that? Oh, this is a. I think she would be annoyed at first, but then it's like she likes to party. Of course, these are kids, so it's a pretty it's she likes the
It's not.
music.
It's not. Yeah, it's not a cool party. I need to emphasize. We do get a kid popping into frame and just yells, aquarium parking lot party, and somebody's got a boombox, and like kids are dancing to the music, and like it's Brick looks very pleased with himself as this party has come together in the parking lot of an aquarium.
I have one important question, and that is one of the kids that is there, is that the mascot of the team?
Oh, the mascot is absolutely there.
Because you might not know, but the mascot of the Pine Shallows Sea Owls is Blobby. Blobby the sea owl. And, well, people that listen should really Google how sea owls look, because they're not elegant fish. He's called Blobby for a reason. So there's like the big fish head wearing mascot that's also partying there. Of course, Big G loves her some sea owls. So she will immediately, with leaving the door open, will go for the mascot and will try to... Well, she knows a factoid or two about sea owls. And of course, she wants to share knowledge with the sea owl. So she will tell. She will dive at Blobby, the mascot.
That's great. That makes me so happy. So I think like as Blobby the sea owl is doing his various dances and Big G is like rattling off sea owl facts, I think that Brick is like watching this from like behind a dumpster, and is gonna eyeball that employee exit and like sneak his way inside.
Yeah, I think we'll have to do a brawn roll, but I think with advantage, because, well, this party is such a great. So that means one extra die. 3 die, and just pick the 2 highest.
That extra die did not help. That is 2. So I do get a plot point because it is 2 2s, but that is still a 6 total, which makes this a failure.
So how does it fail? What happened? How hard is it to open a door? It's basically the question.
I think what happens is Brick, we see like there's a dumpster and a trash can and like a street light, and I say those 3 things just so that we very specifically get the Scooby-Doo style, sneak behind the street light, completely disappear, sneak behind, piano riff as you sneak behind the trash can, gets up to the door just in time to hear over his shoulder, no, you gotta come inside and see the sea owls, and like he is caught very specifically by Big G and Blobby because she is bringing him inside to see the sea owls that are in the aquarium.
You Brick. Fancy seeing you here again. You like sea owls as well, right? Just come, join.
Yeah.
She just with her arms around Blobby and Brick, moves them both inside and starts turning on some lights again. You've never been here. It's like the back rooms. It's just a small hallway with some doors. But yeah, one of the doors just opens into like the public area of the aquarium, and that's immediately where Big G leads you.
And I think is like very reluctantly following behind, like looking for an out, but kind of like following along just to kind of see if it's going somewhere, just to see if he spots anything along the way.
He does see the creature peeking out from one of the aquaria again, like watching, seeing what's happening, but it's hesitant to come out. Obviously, when more people are present, it seems to make some. It does gesture at Brick, like it wants Brick's attention.
I think that Brick kind of stops. Like, Brick is kind of following the 2 of them back, and as soon as he sees the creature, he kind of stops. I think he kind of he does the I mean, we gotta, if it's an aquarium and an aquarium creature, we gotta do the hand on the, we gotta do the, like, sneak up, put a hand on the glass bit, right? That feels like it's gotta happen.
Yeah, that's it's a classic. That's classic. And of course, the creature also moves his hands, and they look in each other's eyes. They understand each other.
I think
Uh,
that it being Brick, the next thing that he does is like they put a hand up and then Brick throws like a flex. He does the like the arm twist, like the classic arm twist flex, just to kind of show off, just because he's like, I don't even know. I don't even think Brick really knows why he does it. It's just kind of his immediate impulse is to make a connection and then show off a little bit.
yeah, I think we get a close up of the face of the creature that's very demonstratively ignoring this. It's like, okay, that's not why I wanted your attention.
Excellent. I love it. I love it so much.
The creature tries to he tries to make some gestures. So he's pointing at himself and then pointing like up and away. Like he's trying to make something clear to Brick.
Yeah. I think I got it. I think I got it. I think I got it. And kind of like studies the glass a little bit and like is looking to see like if there's a lid or a hatch or something that needs to be pulled to get this creature out of the tank.
The big tanks are like ceiling high in the public part, but you've seen divers clean the glass, right? So there must be a way in, but not from the public area of the aquarium.
I think I throw the creature like a thumbs up, and I point up and over, like signaling back, like I'm going, and I maybe point at myself, point at the creature, point up and over, trying to signal like I understand it, I'm going to get you out, and then I throw up like a 1 to say like wait, I will be back.
The creature makes like the classic diver okay signal.
And I think I creep back. I follow back behind, or I catch back up to Blobby and Big G.
Yeah, Big G is talking so much about the sea owls, and Blobby actually seems really interested. So they didn't even notice you kept behind a bit. So I think
CL's great, really interesting, fascinating.
You see like a blob swim past. It's one of them.
And as we kind of walk back towards, like, as we're walking, are we walking like towards like a back room area, or are we just kind of like strolling the general aquarium area?
Yeah, you're now really in the public area, but you went through the back area. At least part of it. You only saw like a corridor, like a hallway, but that's where you entered through the employee entrance. So that's the place where you saw a number of doors there. So it might be some might lead to some kind of back room or control room.
Then I think as soon as he like establishes his presence and makes it clear, like as soon as he establishes his presence and makes it clear, like I'm here and paying attention to this conversation, he is gonna sneak back off into that hallway and start like looking through doors and seeing if he can find one with a hatch that gets him into the tank with the diver.
Yeah, there's a number of doors. Yeah, if he just randomly opens them, there's like a small kitchenette, dirty dishes still in the sink, of course, stained coffee machine. There's a small kitchen trolley filled with dirty cups in a corner, but not much interesting other stuff. A big fridge, but that's it. Next door you try, just a storage room. More fish food than you could ever imagine. But the next door you try, it's like you see also on some trolleys you see some very old computers with all kinds of readouts of things like oxygen levels and temperature and whatever. And you see like a big metal ladder going up to some metal walkways that are on top of the aquarium. There's 2 old diving suits also on a rack here.
Then I am grabbing a diving suit, throwing it over my shoulder, and climbing up these walkways to get up to the top of the aquarium, where I think I'm going to be able to dive into one of these tanks.
Would Brick know how to put on a diving suit, or well, it's...
I don't think. I legitimately think that he can try and guess it, but like, I think that it will be a struggle.
Let's try a brain roll again, just to see. Especially, I think that like the suit itself, he knows how to.
Yeah,
he's a stunt. He's
a stunt guy. I think that
He probably has worn wetsuits for weird sea stunts with his friends, but like the oxygen tank, that might be a bit tricky to get it to work. So let's have a roll.
Well, that is a 2 and a 3 for a 5. So I think I'm going to spend this plot point and re-roll these dice and say that exact. I think that the specific the justification for re-rolling this I'm going to give is he like is trying to figure this out, and then we see a flashback to one of these stunts on like on one of these crooked poorly aligned like VHS tape recordings. It's like it's time for the bungee dive, and they did a bungee dive but in diver suits, and then tried to use the air bubbles, or tried to use like the air tubes as oh wait, no, I guess I should ask, are we thinking like just a regular like scuba thing, or are we thinking like an old school like 30s big round thing in a tube diving suit?
I was thinking scuba, but the other one also really like the traditional one that you would find like in miniature form in a home aquarium. No, I think scuba is probably
scuba.
It also makes a bit more sense that he would know how to handle scuba.
Then yeah, I think that the stunt is like we see some kind of stunt. Maybe it's that they all jumped off of a bridge into a water in little scuba outfits. But like it's just some absolute nonsensical teens having no concern for their health and safety type stunt. So I'm gonna re-roll these dice and see what I get. And that is a worse result at a 3, which is very funny.
So at least he's very confident that he did it right.
He's so confident.
So when he put on the suit, he's like on this metal walkway, like it's like right on top of the water, right? You see bubbling here and there. It's late. It's getting darker. So there's some lights. The most light you see is like coming from the public area where Gertrude has turned the lights back on and filtered through the thick glass back into the water. So it's like a very how would you say? It's a bit creepy. It's like you see the water because all the air is bubbling. So, and he's on his walkway. He's wearing the suit. Is he just gonna jump in?
I think that like I want this failure of the dice to come up in the funniest and cartooniest way possible, which is he jumps in. Like he makes contact with the diver, and immediately it becomes apparent that he did not set up the suit correctly, hook up the air correctly, and just starts thrashing and kicking at the glass, and it specifically attracts the attention of Big G and Blobby as they like come out because they hear somebody screaming and thrashing, which means that we are cornered and confronted by Big G and Blobby, specifically the diver, like the creature and I are both confronted and we have to figure out a way out.
So she also spots the creature?
I think so. Or maybe not. I'll leave that up to you, but I think that like Big G and Blobby are in front of us as like immediately after I've made contact in the water with the creature. I will leave it in your hands if she has seen the creature or not, or if I have to like try and hide the creature as I smuggle my way out.
Yeah, so yeah, you're in the water. You see Big G still pointing. Well, as far as you can see, because you're dressing so wildly, you're just like the bubbles come out with force out of the tubes. You're just going back and forth. You do manage to bump into the creature, which just before Big G sees you, falls behind some rocks. So you're safe on that front. But Big G immediately is. You see her look behind her, like, wasn't Brick just beside me? And you see her run away. Probably she will be on her way to the back room, to the control room, just to get you out of the water, probably. So your air is running out pretty quickly.
I think I swim up, and like as she like opens up the hatches and kind of starts to pull me out, I give like the slightest like kind of I think we're kicking that we're making lemonade here, and I give a thumbs up to the diver as like and as I am pulled out, and you can let me know what kind of a role this would be, but what I want to do is continue thrashing and like continue thrashing and use the fact that I am a big guy and that I am throwing a fit, for lack of a better way to put it, and kicking and thrashing to try and like keep Big G distracted for long enough for the creature to like sneak out of the open hatch. Does that make sense?
It makes sense. There's one thing I could think of that complicates this, and that is that, are you sure that the creature can breathe air?
Oh, that's a really good question. I am absolutely not.
Yeah, so how would you solve that? Because yeah, you can open it. It can get out of the water, but then let's first do. I think if you do a brawn roll, this feels like a physical action, something that Brick is good at. He's probably used weird things like this to distract people more often. As a stunt guy, you sometimes when it doesn't go well, you want your fellow kids to be able to escape.
And to that point, like, it's also kind of like, if we're thinking about it in terms of like, stunt show stuff, like acting hurt is kind of part of the comedy of it and part of the show of it. So I think that like really playing it up is a part of the game, right? Like that's part of what we do when, you know, if you get hit in the head if you get hit in the gut with a cannonball, you kind of have to roll around in order to kind of sell that you're hurt. And I think that's exactly what he's doing.
Yeah, so how I see this a bit for me is that Big G is climbing up the metal ladder, pulls out Brick, who's still trashing, and then together they fall down from the metal ladder, basically. Or at least she will have to. Would it be something like that, or more like she would have to do way more work to pull Brick out of the water, even on the metal walkways? So I'm trying to see a bit where he will do this.
I think it's on the walkway. I think he's kind of doing this on the walkway. Yeah, actually, I think that he's doing it. Here's what I'm going to say, because I think this kind of moves us very nicely into kind of the next challenge a little bit. By the way, I rolled a 9, so we can act on that. But I think that like where he's doing it is I think there's a moment where Brick is like doing this and like kicking and like sandbagging and being a dead weight a little bit to like clearly like play it up and make Big G like exert effort in like rescuing him.
Yeah.
And I think that like he does that, and when he notices, and I think that like adding the no air, bringing like foregrounding the no air challenge, he sees the diver not come through, and then we kind of see the dots connect of like, oh right, fish got it, and like has to like process that, and so like has to think through the challenge from there. But like, and then once that happens, starts to kind of like go with Big G away from the tank to kind of draw her away from the situation.
Yeah, she's obviously a bit overwhelmed because of. She was actually really worried when he was like thrashing. So she's like, she's not really, she's not angry yet. She's because she just didn't realize yet that Rick shouldn't have been here. But she's more like, oh, are you okay? Dude, I know you love the fish, but you shouldn't be in there. What happened to you here?
I thought it was a sick stunt. I thought it was going to be a really cool stunt, and you can't blame me for trying.
But nobody is filming it. But never mind. She tries to get him to go down the ladder again, back to the so just come down and we'll get you dry again.
And I think that he follows.
So just before he comes down, he looks up and he sees the creature raises its head above the water and pointing at its neck, like at its gills, like with like an expression like I'm stuck here. Please help me.
I think that I think he's as he is walking with Big G, he is going to look for something that he can convert into a little bit of a little bit of like a mini head tank, almost the water equivalent of those old school like retro diving suits. Something that he can fashion into like he can fill with water and have him stash his head so that he can walk, so that he can breathe as we get him to the docks.
In the control room, there's not much. There's like the old computer on the trolley in the corner. There's a second diving suit, of course. But Big G takes you along to the kitchen, and there is like a big. I'm not sure what American English is, but like a wheelie bin.
Yeah. Like I got you, like a wheelbarrow. Yeah.
No, not like for garbage, right? But
yep. I got you. I think I got what you're putting down.
That's there. I think that's the only thing you see that is like portable, movable at least, and a container. Like there's some pots and pans in the kitchen. Maybe a pan big enough to put your head in. There's of course there will be some garbage bags, but
is there, this is as I'm looking around, is there like an aquarium, is there like a smaller like tank, kind of a commercial tank, but not necessarily like, for storing like smaller sized fish, but one that is decently sized enough that I could fill it with water, plop it on this wheelie bin, and sneak it off to where the diver is so that we could smuggle him inside?
There's just in the kitchen where Big G brought you. There's just like on the small table. There's a goldfish, small goldfish tank.
That'll work. That'll work. I think that I'm gonna try and like lie to Big G and get her to leave the room. And I think I'm just like, Hey, Big G, I need to like change clothes and dry off and stuff. Can I have some privacy?
Oh, sure, of course, I understand. I've been a teen myself, and she, nothing that I wouldn't have seen, but okay. I'll just go find Blobby again. He's probably still looking at the sea owls. So she before she leaves, she turns around one more time, uh,
I give a thumbs up.
and she said, "No more witch stones, right?"
No more weird stunts.
Thumbs up, and she leaves. And you hear her walk away back into the public area of the aquarium again.
I'm gonna grab this fishbowl and immediately like sneak through the door as quietly as I can and try to like tiptoe back up to exactly where I was so that I can scoop some water out, hand it to the diver. He can put his head in it, and we can sneak our way out of here.
What about the goldfish? Is it still in there?
Oh yeah, it's absolutely still in there, and I think we get the visual. I think that we get the visual of like if I'm like wherever I'm carrying this, there is just a goldfish swimming in this little container.
Like before the eyes of the weird creature. So, yeah, the creature climbs out of the aquarium, pops the goldfish tank on its head. Now you're both in the control room. It still needs to go somewhere. It seems that it understands that Brick is helping, and he also seems to think that Brick has a plan. So, what is the plan?
I think the plan. I think Brick is going to. I think Brick is going to. On one of these computers. If one of them is on, I think he's going to try and like pull up a map of Pine Shallows to kind of like indicate to this creature like and kind of point at it and kind of go like, where do you want to go? Like, where are you trying to get off to?
Yeah, it's an old machine, so it takes so long before the browser starts up. You point at the map, and it's very clear that it's very clear where the creature wants to be. Pine Shallows Aquarium is on the boulevard, right next to the beach. So the creature's like points at the sea, like the sea. I want to go to the sea.
All right, then I think I'm gonna make a. I mean, this is good cartoonery because I am going to ask to make a brain roll to simultaneously cause a distraction and help me and my friend get out of here. I want to start the fire sprinklers in this aquarium, rain down some water to make my friend more comfortable, distract Big G so that we can just like make a run, because if I can get us to my go-kart, then I can get us to the water and I can free my friend.
It's worth a try.
All right. Oh, I am so that is I've never been happier to see 2 5s in my life. That is a success. I will take a plot point. I think like we do get like a long shot of Brick like processing this. He sees the sprinklers on the roof. He sits there and he scratches his hands and he snaps his fingers and he like goes to the computer, and we do get like a long sequence of him just looking at the computer going, I don't know how to actually start the fire alarms on this computer. Before finally we just see him like underneath a smoke alarm with a lighter. I think the diver is holding him by the ankles as he's like lighting this lighter, and finally they start the smoke alarms, or they start the sprinklers that way.
So you hear in the distance, you hear Big G and Blobby like, "Oh, what's happening?" And Big G is running towards. Is running around. Where's the fire? Where is the fire? And my fish!
I signal with my two middle fingers. I hold up my flat palm. I signal with 2 middle fingers to the diver, like, run. We should run, and then start running and hope that he gets the message.
he certainly does. So he runs along with you with like a with like the sound like he's like webbing between his feet, so it's like behind you, running along. Which exit are you aiming for?
I think we're running for the back for the employee exit by which we came.
So the moment you exit, immediately like the whole party turns to you and looks at you like. There, of course, there's a DJ now also.
Yeah, of course
and
there.
You hear like the scratch of the records.
We see a bounce house in the distance. Like they have done everything. And I'm gonna spend this other plot point. I'm gonna spend this plot point and say, sea owls, cover me, and like run, jump in my go-kart, watch as my diver friend jumps on the back, and like just hope that my team forms a wall. Maybe I'm yelling specifically like blue 42, blue 42 to form a blocking formation behind me so that we can get to the go-kart.
So of course like the moment you came outside, everybody was silent, and you heard like one scream like, "Wow, what is that?" And then the moment you shouted, "Sea owls go!" Like your whole team was like, "Yeah, yeah!" And there's like a huddle of big dudes around you, pushing and pulling the go-kart with you and the creature towards the sea. Which, of course, when you cross the boulevard and reach the sand, is pretty hard. In the distance, you still hear Big G shouting, "My fish! Where's the fire?" But the sea is getting close, so it seems like but the go-kart gets stuck in the sand, but the whole team is like, "Yeah, sea owls," and they pick you up and the creature, run towards the beach, and they throw both of you in the water. It's not completely the plan that you went along, but both Brick and the creature land in the middle of the sea. So, well, in the middle of the sea, that would be a bit far, but so what do you do now?
I think that like I hop off and I kind of like signal to my friend that we're running for the water, and we just kind of run down the beach towards the ocean. I think that like once the go-kart is stuck, we're running the rest of the way by foot.
Yeah, I think the whole team will still continue, right? They will shouting the "Go Sea Owls Go" and run along with you to the beach, to the water. Yeah, I guess when you reach, it doesn't. There's no hurdles left.
Yeah.
The sea is there, so maybe we have a slow montage of you two with the classic 80s music running toward the beach.
That's great. I think that we get to the edge of the water, and I think that we both face each other, and he's got his little fishbowl on his head, and the goldfish is swimming around in a circle. And if I may, I think that the final thing that we see of the two of us is like we stand and face each other, and like Brick kind of like looks around, is like how do I gesture like thank you or like, and just like goes right back to flexing, and maybe at this moment the diver like kind of like cocks his head and then flexes back, and we kind of have like a flex off, and then it's into the water.
That's yeah, that's beautiful. That's just beautiful. That's what more can I say? And yeah, the creature goes into the water, walks a bit, then when it gets deep enough, starts swimming and turns around one more time. And you see the goldfish jump around him and swimming along. And then they slowly disappear into the sea.
And I think like as we watch that, I think that Brick stands there and kind of like wipes away a little bit of the tear, and then like a smile forms on his face as he just shouts out as loud as he can, "Beach party!" And like and kind of jumps into the air, illuminated by the moonlight, freeze frame, and that's game.
That's a beautiful image.
Oh my, this was so much fun. Thank you for playing this with me. This was just the absolute best experience.
Oh, thank you so much. It was a blast playing with you.
Oh,
It's I've played this scenario a few times, and every time it surprises me the shenanigans people come up with how to break out this creature. And this was a brilliant plan. I love
I'm
it.
so glad. I'm so
I love
glad.
Brick is awesome.
I love Brick. I truly love Brick very, very much. Well, thank you so much for playing this with me. I had the best time. Before we wrap up, where can people find you, your work, and Pine Shallows online?
Online, I usually go by the nickname Jimmy Shelter on Twitter. That's the most important one, and as well as on itch.io, jimmyshelter.itch.io. There you can find Pine Shallows and some of my other games. I would love for people to also dive into this world. There's more adventures coming up. This is we played like the starting adventure now, but I'm writing some more about weird cryptids and other mysteries. So I hope everybody will enjoy this game as much as I did tonight.
Well, thank you so much for playing this with me. I had the absolute best time, and for now I'm going to throw it over to me in the future so that he can wrap up with the show. Take it, future me. Thanks, Bass Me. And thanks again to Peter for coming onto the show. That game was, it was a cartoon come to life. And it was wonderful. It was exactly what I wanted when I heard the pitch of the game. I love that game. I love that session. I love that character. I just had so much fun with that experience from beginning to end. I could not be happier. Like I mentioned earlier, the game is currently available on itch.io. Head to jimmyshelter.itch.io for your own copy of the game. Help them pay for interior art and editing. And be sure to follow Peter on Twitter for now at jimmyshelter. Then while you're on Twitter, or more accurately, while Twitter still exists, go follow us at Party of One Pod. Like the show on Facebook at facebook.com/partyofonepodcast. Follow us on TikTok at Party of One Podcast, Tumblr at Party of One Pod, on Discord at bit.ly/partyofonediscord. And sign up for our mailing list at buttondown.email/partyofonepodcast to get updates about the show, behind the scenes stuff, announcements about awards and contests and things, all the stuff that you would get in a newsletter. Now, if you enjoyed the show, there's a lot of ways to support it. You can tell a friend about the show, give us love on social media, leave us a nice review on Spotify, iTunes, or Apple Podcast. Well, I guess those are the same thing, or Podchaser. You can also financially support the show at patreon.com/JeffStormer or Ko-fi.com/JeffStormer, or you can go to bit.ly/partyofonmerch and pick up a Party of One logo t-shirt. And if you enjoyed the show and you're looking for more great podcasts, check out All My Fantasy Children, which is a character creation, storytelling, and world-building podcast on the One Shot Podcast Network, where my best friend Eric Catano-Sias and I take a listener-submitted prompt and spin it into an original fantasy character. You can find that at oneshotpodcast.com, or you can check out Yazeba's Bed and Breakfast, a slice-of-life actual play about a heartless witch, a quiet house, and all the many people making their lives inside. You can find that at tinyurl.com/Yazeba's Party of One is produced and edited, as always, by Jeff Stormer and Jen Frank. All music for the show comes from the song Infinite Lives by Mega Ran, featuring the D&D Sluggers. The Party of One logo is by Evan Rowland. If you'd like to inquire about advertising rates, press coverage of the show, or about coming onto the show as a guest, you can email me at partyofonepodcast@gmail.com. And finally, before we wrap up, one final update from present me. Hey everybody, Twitter's not doing great. So, in case it stops being a thing and you follow the show on Twitter where you get updates about the show, here are a few other places you can follow the show, just in case. We are on TikTok at Party of One Podcast. We've launched a show Tumblr at partyofonepod.tumblr.com. Or you can head to buttondown.email/partyofonepodcast and sign up for our newsletter, where we'll be sharing new episodes, behind-the-scenes stuff, award nominations, all that kind of thing. Those are all the ways that you can keep up with the show in case Twitter stops being a thing, in a week or whatever. Relatedly, if you are interested in coming on the show as a guest and you don't have a pressing need, if you have a Kickstarter or something, please email us. But if you're just kind of hey, I'd like to play a game at some point, it doesn't need to be now, it doesn't need to be soon, just some point, head to partyofonepodcast.com. We also reopened our guest application form. Again, if Twitter stops being a thing, I don't want to lose the ability to interact with people, engage interest in guests. So if you're interested, that's where to go. And unless I am mistaken, I believe that is all we do here. So until next time, thank you so much for listening. Remember to fight the forces of fascism every single day. Remember that self-love and self-care are radical and defiant acts of resistance. And as always, party on, everybody.